Greetings and salutations. It is I, Big Dan, Rodan, coming at you live from the 215, your comic book connoisseur, your sommelier of sci-fi and superheroes, here to welcome you to an episode of BNR, Straight No Chaser.
Straight No Chaser!
One more time.
Straight No Chaser!
Last time.
Straight No Chaser!
Thank you. As you can see, I am never by myself, because if I was, this would be a streaming channel and I'd be making money.
Wow, that's how he feels about the partnership.
Anywho,
It's your boy. What's up? Last Descendant of Yasuke, sub overdub for all anime. Also dancing ninja, stay on his toes. Got a sake flight ready to go. It's your boy Hawkins Hanzo. Let's go.
Yay.
now,
And as you can see
Yes.
and or hear, depending on how you're listening or watching this, we have a special guest,
it is
none
Jill
other than
from the hills.
Yeah.
from the hills.
Talk to him, Jillian.
Hello. I am Jillian. I am from a little podcast called Blerd On The Sreet. I'm here to join the Blerd Bar at the corner of, Blerd On The Street and Market. We're a podcast of three women. I'm just one of three, talking about, all things geeky or anything relating to Black culture, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, it is a
Awesome.
pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I like how
Very
she put
excited
it.
to
I
have you.
like how she put us right on the corner
Yeah.
of their street.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
We're a corner
That's
bar.
what
We,
I'm
we
fine with
are a
that.
corner bar.
Yeah.
That means not everybody can get in, right?
Right.
Like after a while, the
Everybody
fire marshal
goes,
show
but
up.
not everyone can get in. Right.
Exactly. We're gonna just jump right into it.
Looking
That's the
at
whole
you,
point of this.
Dolazol.
Stop it. We're gonna jump right into this. That's why it's called BNR Straight No Chaser. That means it's none of the fluff, no booze. I mean, we're not really reviewing our booze. We're not really reviewing news or going over it. We are straight up just jumping right into this. And
Yeah.
you've probably heard about it. You probably have read something in the internet about it. You've seen memes. You've seen videos. You may have even watched the show. Obi-Wan currently has three
Kenobi.
parts out. Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus currently has three episodes out, part 1, 2, and 3. By the time you've seen this, part 4 will have aired. But we just want to talk about it, largely due to the controversy involving Moses Ingram, a lot of the racism and hate that she's received, kind of our take on that, and also talking about the fan base of Star Wars.
Ooh.
We might be here for a
It's
while.
like a separate podcast.
Could be a separate
Right?
podcast. Also talking about our criticisms that we may have, and are we allowed to criticize something when the controversy seems to be geared and directed toward a singular person, their identity and culture and race, all tied up into one package, when it's something that virile and something that sensitive, are we still allowed to speak our piece?
Right.
And so we're just going to jump right into it. I feel like if any barflies have seen our recent posts, you may have seen that we posted a meme, and I'll post it again here. Pointing the right way. There we go.
There it is.
There
we
you
go.
go.
There it is.
You got it.
Yeah, and
Well, before we get into the meme of it,
right, but
I
hold on, really quick. I just, for full transparency,
Okay.
I made the meme. So if there's any dislike or disgruntledness toward it, come see me. I got time. I'm awake.
Yeah.
But before we jump into the meme, Jayhawks wants to say his piece.
well, no, I just want to say let's talk about how we feel about the show so far.
Okay.
On the eve of the part 4 coming out.
That's true.
No.
Jillian, huh?
Oh my gosh, we're recording on a Tuesday. My bad.
It's okay.
But this is coming out
It's
on
fine.
Thursday. I'm sorry.
It's
I
okay.
was gonna say no. Tonight's the night of Miss Marvel Eve.
No, that's
That's tomorrow.
That is
yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two
that
things.
that
Two
also
super-
airs tomorrow. Great.
No,
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is on Friday.
Not anymore. It's actually been the
I thought
release
it was
schedule is
Oh.
Wednesdays. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
it
I
premiered
am
on a Friday.
behind. Okay,
It's fine.
Yeah,
I
premiered
didn't
on
come to
Friday.
this prepared. I'm sorry. I'll go.
Not
I'm
your
You're
sorry.
fault. We are
Now come back.
come back. We are adults, and so we don't keep up with everybody's schedules. So
I
once we
make
turn,
mistakes. I'm
no,
sorry.
listen. To be and once again, full transparency. I didn't even know episode 3 had dropped until Jayhawk had like texted me and was like,
Oh,
"I got
okay.
feelings about this," and I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Okay.
And then I looked and I was like, "Oh, I should have
Oh,
watched
yeah.
this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jillian, tell us what you think about the show so far. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Okay, so I'll start with the good. I really like they got, the same actors to play the roles that they played in the prequel series. I always like that as continuity aspect of it. I really like that they kind of spent the money to expand the world a little bit. Like, we've never seen Alderaan. We don't really know a lot about Tatooine besides, Owen's farm. And I also like that they're, committed to continuing to hire a diverse set of actors. That being said, the script needs some work. It's a little, let's say, rudimentary at best. Like, you have Ewan McGregor, he can do some stuff. He can deliver a line, and he is committed to delivering the lines, and he's great. I'm enjoying it just because I like Obi-Wan in general as a character. So I haven't been watching the other Star Wars series. I think I'm going to start this summer catching up on those. But I thought Obi-Wan would be good to start with because it is continuing right after where the prequels stopped. So
Well,
Those
not
are
right
my
after, 10
2
years
cents.
after, but right.
Yeah. But
It is a continuance.
it's easier
In
to
the
pick
grand
up
scheme
on.
of Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah.
When everything's a long, long time ago. I
Right.
guess that,
Right.
Any other criticisms, statements,
I
feelings?
feel like we're gonna get into some other ones.
Okay, you are absolutely right about that. We are going to get into
so
it.
maybe I'll hold off.
Am I frozen?
I'll keep it light
you're
at
good.
the beginning. Yeah.
So I want to say about the show, I already have notes because like I've already been like, I think little Leia, is great as a child actor. I think she's really like knocking it out of the park, in ways that, she came to earn her paycheck. I don't know if everybody came with that same energy. So that's what I'll say. I think it being on, I don't know if it's because it's on Disney Plus or what it is, but the chase scenes are just like ridiculous. Like, and I don't think they have to be. And I think especially with Vader, I feel like they milk things that don't need to be milked. And it's like, bro, we only got 6 episodes. I don't care about the cinematic shot of Darth Vader looking off into the distance in his throne room or like looking into the flames. Like, I need you to like wrap this up. I need you to tell me a story. And I feel like if you're going, I think this now wholeheartedly, if from now on you're going to do 6 episodes, like a limited series, do the Sherlock route and give us like an hour and a half, like tell the story and don't, I don't know, like I think Disney is doing a lot of stuff that really reminds me of Tron, where it's like
Okay.
visually very cool and very
Mhm.
amazing, but like story wise, I'm like, I knew I wasn't gonna be excited for this, and unfortunately, it is still holding up to
Okay.
that assumption.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, and I feel like the Inquisitors could be so much cooler, but you got to get out of the
Yeah.
House of Mouse
Ooh.
so you can raise the rating. But I mean,
I mean, they have Disney Plus M. Like you had to say your birthday at some point
mm,
recently in order to get, like Daredevil and stuff. And oh no, that was right before they put out Moon Knight.
mm,
Did you notice that? So I
I
mean, they have the capability, and they've actually put a lot of movies on there. Like just as an example, Death on the Nile,
mm-hmm,
Agatha Christie adaptation was very like, especially in the beginning, was very sexually charged, and I was
mm-hmm.
surprised that I saw it on Disney Plus. I was like, oh, okay, so we're doing thing because I know also people are worried about if they reboot Daredevil, just kind of getting away from that, and that things are going to be a little less. Uh,
Safe
it's not going to
for
be what it was on Netflix, is what I'll say.
yeah.
So like they have, if you're going to put out an M rating for things like Moon Knight, which I'm not sure it really needed it, but if you're going to say, hey, I need you to say that you're an adult before I can let you
Wow.
view this content, then you guys have the capability to take it that far. Then,
You have the technology.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and to that point, I feel like Star Wars does not get very dark.
right.
Just as an IP
Hmm.
in general, it never has gotten dark.
That's true.
Like there's dark moments, and if you watch episode 3, that's probably the darkest it's ever gotten.
You
Maybe
think so?
you can argue
Okay.
possibly episode 9,
I was about to
Rise of the
say
Skywalker, kind of got dark, but even then it wasn't, because it
they didn't go
really,
full Monty, but like they dipped
no,
down into it.
they dipped their toe, but it was very
Hmm.
much like that's enough darkness.
Yeah.
Um,
Clone
so I
Wars.
feel like Clone War closer, right? But even then, you know.
I mean,
Anyway,
the whole
it's
resurgence of Darth Maul. I thought that was like
but it was still through like the medium of a kid show, right? Like
sure, yeah.
great writing and all of
Hmm.
that, but it was still the medium of a kid show. I don't think we're getting an adult IP coming out of the Star Wars universe, and that's fine
Right.
because Star Wars has always been a family thing,
Mm.
right? Like you only watch Star Wars because your uncles and grandfather and aunties
Hmm.
and all of them were like, we really love this. So it's always been that sense of community to bring you all in. But really quick to say my piece on my critiques, they're probably similar to
Okay.
everybody else's.
Okay.
The chase scenes,
Yeah.
I don't understand why Reva's character had to do parkour the way that they did it and filmed it, because had she not done a backflip, she would have caught up to Obi-Wan and Leia.
Oh, can I say something about that later?
Yeah,
Sure.
please.
Okay. Or I could say it now. I thought they were trying to show that she has some force in her.
I assume that's what that was,
Okay.
but I also
So I let
feel
it
like
go, even though it was so ridiculous.
it was very ridiculous. But when I watched it, all I kept hearing was parkour, parkour, like from The Office, and
That's all I heard.
Yeah.
all I heard.
Yeah.
Which, to that point, I believe the first scene where we watch Order 66, Reva is one of the Padawan that are
I
there.
think that too. Yeah, I think that too.
Yeah.
I've watched it twice, and I'm pretty sure that's the whole point of all of this. And her motivations to go after Obi-Wan are really just for her to get revenge because,
You weren't there.
Yeah.
right,
You could have saved me.
right.
My friends.
And even then, like, every person on the dark side betrays somebody else in the dark side. Like, they're never like, we're on the same team. It's always kind of like, just don't turn your back to me or you might get a lightsaber. So
How did they get so far?
the fact that the Sith even exists is a surprise to me because you would feel like it would have been ended.
No, rule of two. And
that's why there's a rule of two, because if you go further back, there was like
there's a whole bunch of them, and
there was a whole bunch of them. Then they were just like, "I don't like you anymore. I don't like your face." So anyway,
it's interesting. Real quick,
yeah.
Technically, I've heard that like the Inquisitors are not Sith.
They're not Sith. But
they're on the dark side.
Some are force sensitive. Some of them are force sensitive.
Yeah, okay. I mean, because they used to be
be
Jedi.
able to wield a lightsaber, you have to be force sensitive.
Right. So like they're on the dark side, but they're not. They're very much like JV, and like the Sith are like varsity, and it's like.
I mean, if the Sith were FBI, they were like street police, right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I think they're a bit better than street police.
Yeah.
I said what I said. I stand by it.
I don't think they're like blue bloods. Like
I'm not saying they're like straight up. I'm not saying they're straight up like deputies, right? I'm saying they're like lieutenants and like chiefs. They're the white shirts.
Okay.
But anyway, I move on. No, I feel like the chase scenes. I feel like very quickly, this is more of a critique of Disney Plus rather than just Obi-Wan. Pacing is a problem when you do 6 episodes. It's always going to be. Unless you're giving us a linear story and it's not changing a bunch of locations the way that these shows are doing, we will continue to face this pacing problem. Either you give us more episodes or you give us a very concise story that is literally a bridge from point A to point B, rather than trying to do all this weird character development. Now, all this critique, I will say that I very much appreciate what this overall story is doing. It's building the relationship between Obi-Wan and Leia, which allows you to better connect to literally the first opening scenes of episode 4, where she's like, "Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope." Before this, there's nothing to say that he ever knew who this chick was. Like, you kind of look like your mama, right?
Right.
Although, and this is my final critique, and it's a weird one. He did all this running around with Leia so far. When Luke saw her in episode 4, he goes, "Wow, she's really pretty." Ben, that's your time to speak up. Don't do that. That's your sister. That was it. That's all he had to do.
I never understood why he never
said it. Because he a creep. I don't, I don't know what happens between this Obi-Wan series and episode 4.
Yeah.
But something breaks down with him mentally that he was just kind of like, I'm going to let this rock. I'm going to let this roll.
They do it differently on Tatooine. It's fine. Like,
so
he's lived some life. He goes from 40 to 80. That's 40 years of Tatooine life. You know what I mean?
He's just sitting there meditating in the desert.
Yeah. Right.
Like, I'm kind of mad at him for not practicing his fighting skills at least.
Bro.
I mean, the moment Vader showed up, he was just like, "I'm out of practice." Which is crazy because he was arguably the best Jedi lightsaber fighter.
Yeah, and it never
his style is considered the best style,
right?
Because it's the most.
I thought
aggressive.
that was Mace Windu.
No, Mace Windu had a wild style because he was black. That's what they gave him. However, the fighting style of Obi-Wan is considered to be the best because it's both defensive and offensive. While Mace Windu's was strictly offensive, and he lost his hand and got thrown out a window.
Is that Legends? Not Mace Windu. I saw that. I'm talking about the stuff about Obi-Wan having
the best fighting style. No, that's canon. We'll pull up source material. You and I will read books later.
You got an appendix here.
Man. Anyway.
Oh wait, it bothered me that he isn't like practicing his fighting, because if he's tasked with protecting Luke, you're just.
I'm assuming his protecting is more of kind of just like, don't do that, and that's it. Like,
but everyone, you could just stand there and be like, they're just gonna blow past you.
Right.
You're
But
Like
very effective.
if you're not staying strong in the force, like
Yeah.
when
I mean, and
when
his
she
skill.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, and his skills of just like staying on the down low suck too, because at the end of every shift he's like very obviously cutting off
stealing,
extra.
like straight up stealing. I was like, you ain't a
I'm like,
Jedi
you
no
don't
more.
see this?
And there's like no shift manager that's kind of like,
Yeah.
stop doing that.
It's just a sliver. It's just a
Wait a
sliver.
minute.
It'd
A
be like,
rotten
that's
fish
a weird cut. Like,
to
it's
feed
fine.
your space
Wait
camel.
a minute.
Right. You just going out here feeding your space camel. Nobody else's space camel is healthy but yours.
Yeah.
'Cause you keep, but nobody's like batting an eye to it.
Right.
But I think it does speak to the way that they, that the original the original trilogy was set up, because both Yoda and Obi-Wan were very much out of practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like they knew the Force like a bad ex, right? Like it was kind of just like, yeah, we used to date, however, because Yoda was like straight up cuckoo banana pants. Obi-Wan was like,
I mean, but Yoda was also like he's old when we see him in Episode 1, so like he is ancient, right? Like
Yoda has seen people
we
come
can
and go.
I think we can forgive Yoda, but Obi-Wan.
I don't know, because I feel like Yoda was kind of just like, Yoda was one of them people that probably was like, fine, the Jedi Order breaks up. It ain't the first time that happened in my lifetime, He's like, what am I going to do? I'm gonna go ahead and rebuild again, and but I feel like for Obi-Wan, I get that, but I'm tired of seeing that kind of story, especially when we know
It's a very tired tread.
it's a very tired trope, and it's a trope that gets used a lot. He's like, don't make me get back in this fight. I don't want to get back in this fight.
And it's
I
like
stopped
you
fighting
can't
a long
say
time
that.
ago.
You literally can't say that if like you're still trying to protect the dude. Like,
Right.
It'd be one thing if you're like, I'm out of here. I'm a sign up.
What are you gonna
new
do? Like
Jedi.
shank him when he starts showing Force abilities? Like,
Well, it just won't be your problem, right? It's just like, well, good luck,
right.
son.
But
Like-
where do you take him after that, right? Because if that's the whole point of watching over the boy to see if he like shows any Force powers,
Right.
other than the fact that he loves to be a pilot, like his father, which you should probably feel like that's a concerning thing more than anything.
Yeah.
Like
I
that's a
mean,
red flag
yeah.
first. But
He's showing signs
yeah.
in the wrong place. Yeah.
Right. On top of the fact that you are also a creepy old man on a hill watching this child through binoculars.
Yeah.
There's not that much saying to like for me not to look out from my house, see the child I'm raising, and look out over the hilltop. There's a man in a hood watching my child. Red flag.
Right, and there's not like trees to hide him or anything. It's just
Yeah,
like
no,
a flat
he's
plain.
not even hiding. He's
Right.
not even hiding. Which
Right.
is like, Owen's kind of just like, can you just stay away? Like, don't.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing. Like Owen knows that he's there, and they have an agreement. I think all of that is fine. I mean, we could pick that apart like day.
Yeah, no,
day in and day out.
I'm being petty. Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing for me is like, kind of to Jillian's point. Like, if you're going to be here to protect the child, you need to be doing push-ups in your cage. You need to be doing your sword maneuvers, like your forms. Like
The only thing you need
practice
to
in
be
the
doing
Force,
is slicing some fish.
Apparently, like that's just get some salmon. Like
Leave.
Right.
So
And that was a weird thing too, because like you have a face, right? Like you weren't just one of the bulls, you was the bull. Straight up general and famously known among all other Jedis. So if somebody see you in the streets and be like, yo, Obi-Wan, you can't just be like like you can't do that.
Right.
Well, if some random dude can see you, like you don't know him, but he knows you, that means you didn't do a good haircut job, right? Like you're not really trying to like disappear, but
Right.
Yeah, right.
But like you're not even wearing the right kind of hoodie, right? Like you
No,
just
it's
out
like-
here.
Yeah.
Just your face is out here.
but to transition,
Yes. Thank you. Because we can pick apart the pettiest part.
Okay.
How do we feel about Riva, the character?
Mm-hmm.
How do we feel about the how Moses Moses
Ingram, I think.
Ingram? It is Ingram.
Ingram,
Okay,
yes.
Moses Ingram has been received or not received, and we'll go on from there. Like, Jillian, how do you feel about Riva's character so far? I guess.
I mean, I don't like her, but I don't think we're supposed to. You know?
That is a very honest take.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like, because she's, like, so ruthless and will do anything and say anything, and then, you know, she cut off in the first episode, so this isn't a spoiler, she cut off that old woman's hand for, you know, seemingly no reason. Because, like, oh, that was, like, the dumbest threat, I thought. So I think that's on the script. But, like, she said that we'll cut off your hand so that whenever you reach out, you'll think of us. And it's like, and that, I guess, what's not being said is, like, and then you didn't give up the Jedi. It's like, but, like, you still, like, you didn't even question that woman, and you still cut off her hand just, you know, for no reason, just to show off your ruthlessness. It's just kind of like, seriously? So I just don't get characters like that, you know?
Not for nothing, she gives me sorry, but like lady cop vibes, like the ones that like have to prove something. And I think to your point, that's why, like her or hate her, her whole chip on her shoulder is that like I have to prove that like I'm good enough to be here too.
Right, because she's fifth sister.
Third sister.
Third sister, but I think that's like, they seems to be like a really low rank. So she also,
I believe she's third sister.
Yeah, but like there's somebody else in the group who keeps like talking down to her, like, oh, you're only this sister, so you need to, you know, watch.
And he's
what
like
I
fifth
do.
brother.
Yeah. So there's some
I
kind
don't
of
know how the
rank
ranking system
battle.
works.
Yeah, and so like they're chasing this other Jedi kid, but she's always looking for Obi-Wan, because I think she, you know, whatever history that is, we don't actually know yet. We can assume, but he's the biggest fish for Vader. So if she gets him, then she's gonna shoot up to, you know, Grand Inquisitor or something. So I think that's also what she wants, but she also has like, seemingly she has a motive for revenge on Obi-Wan as well. But it's not super clear right now in the story. It feels like she's kind of just doing it just to get ahead, or just doing it just because she's bad. It's just like a lot of like all the bad person tropes you can throw into a character she's got. And she's not charming like Loki or anything. So I think that's where like the hate might also stem from, because she's so unlikable. There's no like redeeming side scene where she's like sensitive. And we could talk about this later, but I'm also kind of like, why does a black woman have to have that? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
If I could jump in for a second, I think you said all the right things. It's definitely a problem with the writing. I would argue some of it's her delivery. Okay. But it's also like, at the end of the day, right? Like, you give a take. If anyone who's been an actor knows, like, you can give a take, and if the director says that's great, we're moving forward.
Right.
You know, all you can do is believe that this is who you should be in that role. So I don't blame her fully. At the same time, like, you know, the expectation when you're given a role is to bring life to this role,
right? And
then, yeah, I mean, you know, so if the detective, I'm having problems. If the director is saying cut, print, we're moving on,
right?
Then, you know, we get what we get. She's not the only person that has bad lines. However, it's a lot more for her, and it could just be us very like pinpointed in watching her to see like if she's the new breakout star in
Right.
in Star Wars, and hoping that she is. However, knowing what I know about Inquisitors, she doesn't go very far from here unless she has some weird redemption story,
Right.
where then she becomes a reverse Jedi.
I feel like a couple things. I feel a couple things.
Okay.
One, I think she is kind of like an amalgamation of both of your points. I think she's giving us something that the director is telling her to give, and like they picked her for a reason, and they're like, "Love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing." So I feel like I'm always one to try to back the actor and like think that like, you know what, they got hired for a reason. Maybe this is just a direction, and like it just don't land. We're not the target audience for that, for how you're delivering. I feel like she is going to be, or I feel like her chip with Obi-Wan does come from like the whole Padawan thing and all that stuff. And I think in this episode coming up, I could see us delving into that because it's
This is definitely
4
going
out
to
of
be a
6.
backstory. This is going to be
Yeah,
a
like
backstory episode.
it's like 4 out of 6. So like if they
Right.
don't do it now, then they're gonna unfortunately wait till like episode 6.
We're getting a flashbacks episode.
Yeah,
That's how it's
so
going to go.
it is what it is. And to your point, Dan, if they do try to give her like a redemption arc or whatever, then I don't know if she'll become a Jedi. But my hope and dream with where Star Wars is taking us, even though we're still in the Skywalker saga for all of these new shows coming up, that's another podcast. But I think that they're trying to give us a new team of people who aren't Jedi, but they don't fuck with the stuff that the Empire is doing, right? Like they're kind of in betweens. They're just like, that's bad, but we have power to change.
Right.
Anybody, kind of like anybody. Anybody can be Spider-Man. Anybody can oppose the Empire.
Right.
Yep.
I get that, and I think a lot of it, while we can have these takes, right, it is not the same, nor is it even aligned with the racism that she's experiencing for this role.
Right. Yeah.
This is that is a completely different thing, right? Like, while we are people of color, black people specifically, the hope is that she shines in the midst of how we may feel this is playing out. However, and we've talked about this in podcasts before, like where black people are often hypercritical of other black people, black Hollywood. That we just do it.
It literally reminds me of.
Go ahead.
I just gonna say it literally reminds me of Black AF. I think it's episode 5 because it's the one I really enjoyed.
Okay.
Where is his name Kenya Barris? Kenyatta Barris? The main dude in Black AF who has also done Black-ish.
Oh yeah, that's Kenya Barris.
Yeah, okay. He talks about the whole premise of that episode is he saw a movie done by a black producer or director or whatever, and he was like, it was trash. And they were like, you can't say that. It's done by like a black director. And it's like, but like if it's trash though, shouldn't I be able to say that that's trash?
Right. Shouldn't I be the authority on the trash?
Or not even the authority, but just don't blindly prop up, you know, like so.
At the same time, that whole like installation of it, right? The expectation is, are you allowed to speak out in criticism of this? Or do you get lumped in with the rest of the toxic fan base, if you would call them? Because I don't consider people like that fans. I find them to be more obsessive and possessive of
Mhm.
a medium that is accessible to all people.
Right.
Prior to, episodes 1, 2, and 3, and 7, 8, and 9, I was still very much a fan of Star Wars. And Lando Calrissian was in episode 5 and 6. And no one was kind of like, there's a nigga in here. Like, regardless of how.
You lost, boy.
Right. You know, and
Stop.
from a perspective, right, where everyone's green, blue, orange, and purple,
Yeah.
half octopus, half fish. How would you not expect brown people to exist in that same world? On a planet where there's 2 suns, everybody should have been black. Luke Skywalker should be black, in my opinion. He should be super black.
I mean, he's
Make
in the
Luke
middle
black
of the
again.
desert. He's in the
Listen,
middle of the desert,
exactly.
outside all day.
Anakin literally goes from being a potato bread man to sounding like the soul brother. It is simply because he was raised on Tatooine. That's my argument.
Hey, man, you
Shout
don't
out
know.
to James Earl Jones.
Shout
Thank
out
you for
to the
coming back,
legendary James Earl
sir.
Jones.
The
Exactly.
humanoids on Tatooine might have a different chemistry makeup. They
I
probably
don't.
do the same
No.
thing as
No.
Terrans.
2 suns.
Two
You know what
suns.
would have happened to us if we was under 2 suns?
But we're Terrans. We have a different chemical makeup.
I don't believe it. Anyway, but and it sounds like we're making light of it, but at the same time, like, the obsessive and possessive people who cling to this medium don't have necessarily. They can be drowned out, and it could be just simply that we're insulated as black folks, that we already know like how to just right. They're doing too
Yeah.
much.
Mhm.
And from someone who has had their work critiqued, even on a small scale, I've been a part of productions where people were like, that was trash. I've been a part of productions where people was like, that was good. You were good, but the whole thing was trash. Like, and you can exist in that space and still feel very personal about the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into it. Moses will most likely never watch this episode of BNR Straight No Chaser. At the same time, we do certainly appreciate the fact that she is another brown face, and in a universe that has been a gateway into what we do here. Like, we talk about Star Wars probably more than we should, and at the same time, we keep that same energy for both sides of it, right? Like, I will rag on people who talk about Jar. I don't like Jar Jar Binks. I didn't like Anakin's delivery in Clone Wars. I keep that same energy all around, and it is never that person that's being attacked per se, but the character itself, which I feel like I'm allowed to critique because it exists for my consumption.
Yeah.
Jillian, what are your thoughts?
Go ahead, Jillian,
Also
because I can
saying,
go on
like,
about this.
some of the obsessives can literally see the actor as the character and think that that's their personality makeup. So that is also an issue that is, I think, underlying here as well. Because I don't know how many acting credits Moses Ingram has. I'm sure she's
Based
got
on
quite a
IMDb,
few.
it's like 6.
Okay, but
Yeah,
like
she was in the Queen's Gambit.
this is a huge platform to kind of catapult somebody into the public eye. And then you have people who are, so dedicated to Star Wars, and they have this person who's just like evil, but also very smart. And then, she has
And
a
she got
singular
braids.
mission.
She got a whole protective hairstyle.
She has a
it's
singular
threatening.
focus. She's, working all her goals toward that focus. She is on top of her game, literally. She's a great fighter. She's smart, but she's also like, she's evil. She's against the main person that you really like.
She can do backflips on rooftops.
Exactly.
What can you do?
And then also, like, she got to Leia at the end of
Right.
episode 3 when seemingly she was behind her, long
Yeah, I didn't get
behind
that jump
her.
cut. But
Yeah. So I don't know. She's got the black girl magic, I guess. So I think all of that together, like she's like an evil person who's kind of winning, is also something that pisses these people off, and they don't like it because they're also like probably another side of it could be like, I wish I was in Star Wars and I want to be in this world because this is my life and this is what I grew up with as a child. Like, this person is here. She doesn't deserve it more than me.
I mean, these are also the same people who feel like, when they got picked over at Domino's, by
Domino's, that's what they got picked over. That's what it was. Domino's.
when they applied to Domino's and then they saw that they had picked a person of color to fill that slot, and they were kind of like, diversity hire,
Yeah.
equal opportunity, and that's
Really funny.
Yeah.
You said picked over for Domino's, and I was thinking of the game, not
That
the.
too.
That's why I was like Domino's. Like that's weird.
Play with you.
Right.
Yeah. You're not
They
gonna
play
be on my
Domino's?
Domino's team.
Right, probably not even picked over for the Domino's team. Definitely not picked over for the Domino's. You got picked over for the Domino's team. No one looked in your direction and said you don't know how to slap fives like I do. So, I feel like it should be easy by now to drown out the hate,
Yeah.
especially when you know it's coming over like keyboards.
Mhm.
Death threats,
It's-
all that stuff seems very empty, especially when you have
Yeah.
money to be like,
Um,
I don't ever have to be in your circle.
I,
It's a
I
little
feel
different.
like- I feel like the difference is, and kind of we touched on it, and this is no shade to her, but like she's blowing up now, right? Not for
Right.
nothing,
Yeah.
I do believe that this is like her biggest role, and to be on a Disney IP, can catapult your like people are gonna like look you up and they're gonna be like, oh,
Yep.
like this is her Instagram. So like
Right.
to say like, should it be easy to drown people out? Yes, in a way, once you're used to it.
Yeah.
But for this
That's
to be her
true.
first thing, it's probably like she's probably getting a ton of like, oh my goodness, you're awesome, it's amazing, da da da. But
Yeah.
then the trolls come up out of the woodworks, and now it's like,
And
whoa, wait,
you know
hold
what
on,
it is?
this is a lot.
Mhm.
The Star Wars trolls seem to. I feel like the only real comparison I can make to Star Wars trolls is like Eagle fans. Like they're equally both loving and hateful at the same time. Like if you're if the
Oh,
team
you
is
said
losing,
Eagle fans?
Eagle fans,
Oh, I
yeah.
thought you said evil fans. Like,
No, Eagle fans, Philadelphia Eagles, the
Gotcha.
football team.
gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
they're the only people that I know that can both hate and love a team at the same time.
Yep.
And I think that's the same that applies to a lot of like Star Wars fans and even like Lord of the Rings fans, like, and a lot of other fan bases.
Some
when-
Harry
where the
Potter
tox-
fans.
Yeah, some
be more
at
applicable,
least
yeah.
where all the toxicity exists, right?
Mhm.
Most of it has to do with being a cis white male, but
Oof.
I said what I said. I stand by
Keep
it.
my count.
But it's a lot of
This
that
rum
weird.
is delicious.
It's the weird insecurity that they have
Yeah.
that just like my stuff's being touched and messed with and I don't like it. And I'm like, that's not what's happening. It's kind of always been here. It just seems more in your face because you're just excited for the next thing. And over again, now you're starting to see less and less white faces. And that's not, the reality is that you leave your house and you should see less and less white faces.
Right.
Like it should be,
Right.
it should be that rainbow myriad of people that exist. And so, go ahead.
I think it's a combination of the internet and diversity. Like you say, like diversity
Right.
plus the internet. It's like, yeah, you're going to see more people because the world is getting smaller. So it's not that. And this goes to, I didn't say, check out Blerd on the Street. They just did an episode with Golden Book Hunter. It was awesome. But this goes to that
Straight up fire.
episode where it's not that there's like, yes, there is a surge of black authors or black actors coming into the
Right.
space, but that's because for the past X amount of years, it's
Probably
been
about
mainly
100.
white people.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So it's like
Yeah.
and it hasn't
any
been
kind of influx is gonna
Right.
feel like it's a tidal wave of black
Yeah. I
people.
right.
know.
What?
But it hasn't, and you know
Like, no,
why
it's
it
just 5 of us.
feels
What?
Right.
but
Right.
but you know why it feels like a tidal wave is because they've been
Mhm.
actively working against
Yep.
keeping people out.
Exactly.
So when you've been
Right.
doing this for so long, a
Mhm.
raindrop feels like a tidal wave, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you've just been
Yeah.
trying to keep out the water for so long that
Right.
you got sprinkled, and you're like, diversity. You know,
Yeah. I know.
and so I feel like in that regard, it is. It's not necessarily the responsibility of other black people
Mhm.
to
Right.
insulate the diverse, to kind of back this diversity, because I'm always one of the first people to say we should make our own stuff anyway.
Mhm.
It's easier that way because regardless of whether or not white people follow behind it,
Mhm.
if it's something good, it will get the love and the acclamations that it's supposed to. Not everything made by a black person or a white person
Right.
or any other person of this world
Yeah.
should be deemed good just because they made it, right?
Right.
Uh, Case in point, anything Tyler Perry puts his name on.
I was gonna say anything.
That's like,
I mean, that's
really?
true, but he did. He did help out Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in their time of need. I will give
I'm
him
not saying he's
that.
not a great philanthropist. I'm
Right,
saying
right, yeah,
anything
I
puts his
know.
name on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not talking
They-
about his philanthropy. I'm talking
Oh,
about
yeah,
his
yeah.
fact that he creates media.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. They did film Black Panther at his studios, though.
okay.
That's one thing his money
He
did.
opened the
Got
doors.
the money to
He
open the
wasn't in it.
studios. Yep.
He wasn't in it, right? Like that's what
Mhm.
I'm saying. It was, it
Well,
wasn't a
God, could
Tyler
you
Perry
imagine?
production.
Could you
God forbid
imagine?
it was a Black Tyler Perry presents the Black Panther.
You
If that happened, I would not have watched.
Oh,
It would have been Ibam Bay. Yeah. Would not have been okay. So but
We reached the
to
end
get
of the
back to
episode.
we almost
that's
have,
it.
right?
That's it.
I think to really bring this full circle though,
Yep.
we don't critique out of hate.
Right.
I think one, if you have chosen to go the route of a blurred review show or a medium review show in general, just like choosing any form of media and then choosing to review it, you're allowed to have your perspective. And I think it would be foolhardy to expect that you should say something nice just because other people are saying mean things. Sometimes, if everyone's saying the same thing, it might be true. Sometimes. At the same time, it should never come from a place of hate, right? Like, you should be able to critique stuff and not go to the point of, like, gather your guns, people were going to storm their doors. Like, no. Watch it, don't like it. Watch it, maybe like it. I think it is the beauty and comfort of being able to do this from your own seat in your home. And also remember at the same time, you have no power here. She already got her check.
Yep.
So
She probably has several
if there's a
movie
second,
roles
exactly.
lined up.
Her phone's probably ringing off the hook because y'all
She's
decided
hot
to
right
put
now.
all this excess energy into like hating her, and y'all about to see a whole bunch more of her. So, do I think she's a great Reva? But who knows? Her next role might be the littest. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it could take off in a direction that propels her in a way that her success only makes you more upset. And I hope that is the case. I hope that you continue to be upset and hate to the point that like she continues to blow up. Fuel her success.
Yep.
At the same time, I don't like her as Reva. That's just what it is. I don't like Reva the character. I'm gonna put up the meme one last time because I'm gonna keep that same energy. I feel this way. Exactly.
I got two questions.
Go ahead and ask your questions.
I got two questions.
Like,
you can leave the meme
Obi-Wan,
up.
I'm gonna get you. Bang, 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 bang. Yeah.
You can leave the meme up.
Yeah, I'm leaving the meme up.
First question is, Reva is she a new character? Like,
She's a brand new character that
Okay.
has never existed anywhere else.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
I was hoping to see some other sisters, but them sisters have died in Jedi Falling Order.
I was about to say,
so.
nah. And then, I guess, Jillian, I mean, read us for filth if filth is what we are.
Right.
But when you saw the meme, how did you, not to say that you speak for all black women everywhere, and that you are the end all be all.
Right. So this meme, I just saw it as like, yeah, she's. I mean, Yosemite Sam is like this iconic character of always going after one thing until even at their detriment. And no matter what, they always, get back up again and keep going after. And that's what I saw. I was like, that's true. And that, gave me a chuckle. So, like, that's definitely not something I would have thought of to compare, but it's true. It's funny because it's true. Yeah.
He's on the line, but he's right.
Right. But you know what's funny? Like, when I made this, all I kept thinking about was when she, like, did that weird yell when Obi-Wan got in the ship.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
all I felt was like, ooh, that dang rabbit. And I was like,
darn tootin' rabbit.
And I was like, if she had a gun, all you would have saw was like blasters as they continue to fade out. Which has been weird blasters. And, But, I feel like we should be able to be allowed to laugh at stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's Star Wars. Star Wars has never been... I think Star Wars stopped trying to be Oscar worthy after episode 6. Like episode 5, they probably were still trying.
No, I think they tried it in 9.
I'm
not saying it worked out. I'm saying they tried it.
Okay, sure. That's a different episode, but
I thought they tried it in 7.
They probably tried it in 7. I would argue that they probably tried it again in 7, but. Star Wars has been campy. Like if anyone's ever watched the Star Wars Christmas special, stop. Like stop taking all of this serious at all. Like if you've seen the Star Wars Christmas special, stop. You should not be mad at her. You should be mad at George Lucas. You should be mad at Disney. Maybe even Ewan McGregor because he's an executive producer. Yeah. But she's not at fault here. Okay, this is a world that has existed on campiness for forever, and has more bad takes. Yeah, exactly. And while it's nostalgic, and while it is something that you may like have surrounded your identity around, it's not that deep. Go outside, breathe, take a fresh air, take a nice,
get some outside air.
Just some outside air, right? Because. At the end of the day, we're going to continue to be here. Yep. And they're going to continue to cast based on, whether it be the intentional diversity or if it be from a place of just someone shined so much that they had to exist in this universe. So cut it out. It's not that deep. If you have any energy that you want to send somewhere, come find me. I'm Big Dan, coming at you live from the 215.
BDE?
We're not allowed to make that joke anymore. So, we have reached the end of the episode.
We reached the end.
Yeah.
Jillian, I want to thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We know where to find you, so we will certainly have you back. Probably to talk about this when the whole thing is done.
Okay. I'll be here. Just tell me when.
Just as a follow-up. Because I feel like this was like a BNR. We didn't give any numbers or an actual score because we want to wait for the finished product. But I think we had to get this off our chest in a way that was respectful and at the same time, like, very genuine. So I appreciate that. Shout out to all the people who continue to follow us. we haven't yet to list the names of the people who are our Patreon members, but we will get to it.
I'm
Because
getting
there's only
married,
4 of
guys.
y'all.
I'm really sorry. The whole marriage
That's
thing.
really what it is.
Humans at
He
the end of
has
the
us.
day.
He has
Yeah.
us going everywhere to find tuxes and
Oh, geez.
ties. It's.
Really
I would say it's
sorry.
great, but it's not.
It is, but at the
as the
same
best
time, it's in the
man,
way.
right? As as the best man, I'm trying my best. So if you don't see us for a while, so yeah,
Jillian,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, who might be seeing this for the first time, please tell the people where they
Yes,
can
tell
find
them.
you, bots, all the stuff.
Okay, well, you can find me personally on Instagram at Jillian.Corinne. That's JILLIAN.CORINNE. And on Instagram and TikTok, you can find Blerd on the Street at Blerd on the Street.
All right.
You can find us on, all your listening platforms. We're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, several other ones, several
The
niche
links be in the
ones.
bio.
Yes.
Yeah.
The link is in our bio on Instagram as well. So,
There you go.
yes.
Please definitely give them like, comment, subscribe, all of the good stuff. They really do speak on things, on something that, like, at an angle that I never think about, and it's always an interesting
That's
conversation.
because we're not allowed to think like that.
Thank
is
you.
not-
That's true. Like, there's some of the stuff, like, we can't comment on because, like,
We
mansplaining.
cannot.
But, like, it's
In this
always
current
a good
social
conversation.
climate, we are not allowed to talk about it.
Thank you.
That's why we have found our
We
sister
appreciate
podcast.
It's always a good conversation,
Yes.
though, so please check
Yes.
them out.
Yes.
And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe with us as well. I mean, you don't have to, but if there was a
It'd be
choice
nice.
between Blerd on the Streets and the Blerd Bar, Blerd on the Street is first. But
But both of us could exist at the same time.
we are allowed to
After-
exist at the same time. We
after
literally
you
just had the
listen.
same discussion.
Yeah.
Get some outside air,
It could be a playlist of all of our,
Exactly.
podcasts, one right after the other.
We're trying. As we always like to say here, God bless you. Deuces.